Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, it's Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across the 16 regions of Ghana, including Kekeli Radio in Ho, ATL FM in Cape Coast, and Dreams FM in Bolgatanga. You can download the My Joy Line app from Play Store and App Store to listen live wherever you are in the world. In this edition, Upper East Regional Security Council puts border security on high alert following a police wireless message indicating possible attacks by Burkinabe bandits.
Well, what we are telling our citizens of the region is to be very aware of anyone that comes in. If there's any other visitor that is coming in that we don't know, then we have to report this person to the security services.
We'll hear from the regional minister. Also, Defense Minister Dominic Ineti will justify his government's decision to hire an aircraft for the president's latest foreign trip, insisting using the presidential jet will not be a good idea.
VVIP or presidential travel is not about aircraft type. It is not even about cost, but it's all about safety and safety.
More as he appears before Parliament also.
For this second wave of Clean Ghana campaign, anybody who goes contrary to some of these environmental bylaws, the person should have himself accountable to the law.
Joy News campaign Clean Ghana back again after it was suspended at the height of the coronavirus pandemic. AMA officials excited first phase of the campaign resulted in significant improvement in adherence to sanitation standards.
Areas that were mostly dense with waste were cleaner than before. Drains filled with soot and waste were transformed to free-flowing drains.
We have details of that also in sports.
Former Ghana boxing boss Sami Kaptan is accusing current boxers and promoters for the decline in the sport in the country.
And later in the bulletin, we'll tell you about what influences musician Patapa's decision whether to feature another musician or not.
Because of what I've seen in my eye some years ago. So when you call me, if I feel like doing the song, I will do it.
We have that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. This is your home of bold, credible and fearless journalism, and this afternoon the Upper East Regional Security Council has put all border security on high alert following a police wireless message indicating possible attacks on Ghanaian communities there. It follows a wireless message indicating that Burkinabe bandits suspected to be in possession of military weapons may have already infiltrated some yet to be identified areas and are planning attacks. Thankfully, we have the regional minister, Stephen Yakubu, join us here on the Midday News. We are grateful for your time here, sir. So tell us about the nature of this security alert that you've put all border security on. Give us the details of what we are to expect.
Well, in Upper East here, we are bordering Burkina and then Togo. And we have a very porous border. If I say porous border, it's not all the areas that we have. It's a very long stretch. Therefore, we are always on high alert because of the happenings of other neighboring countries, especially in Burkina and Niger and other places, which there is a route here to those countries. So as a region, we have always been on high alert. That is what I can say.
And I'm told that it's been a few hours since you gathered this information about this particular threat. What more have we found out, and what exactly are the measures that we are putting in place? Because we know that borders are supposed to be closed, but you've highlighted how porous they are. So what exactly are the measures we put in place?
Well, we have the military here. We have the police here. All our districts that are bordering these countries are all on high alert. We have our military, as I said, we have the police also. And also we have asked our citizens to also be very, very vigilant. Anyone that enters our borders, they should report to us any strange movement at all, any strange person that they see that they are not sure of, they should let us know. That is what we are doing currently in the region.
So when you talk about any strange person, exactly what are citizens supposed to look out for? What do I see before I alert the police on this?
Well, if you see a stranger in your neighborhood, you have to let us know. We need to know. We are very interested in people like that. We are also very interested in people who are booking into hotels, people who are staying with families. We are interested in them also. People who are grazing their herds, we are also interested in them because you have people crossing borders, the Fulanis and all that. So we are interested in anybody at all who enters our borders.
And we're hearing that this is more like a possible attack on Ghanaian communities there. What exactly could be the motive for this?
Well, really, we don't know. These are security matters, and I don't want to discuss in details on the phone with you. But what I can say is that we, as a country and as a region, we are on very high alert because of the happenings of the neighboring countries. And everybody here is carrying on with their normal duties, just to report to us, just to let us know if there's anything that they see that is not normal, so that we deal with it. So we have the matter in hand, in control, and we are peaceful here, and everything is going on as normal here.
But aside asking citizens to be on high alert, have you picked up any leads just yet on this possible attack?
No. We have not picked up anything at all. But these are security matters, as I've already told you. We don't want to discuss it. But our ears are on the ground. That is what I would say for now.
We're grateful. That's the chairman of the Upper East Regional Security Council and Minister Stephen Yakubu there giving us details. Now, as the country struggles to find answers to recent spate of robberies in the country, a retired police officer says most personnel are ill-prepared to deal with the security challenge facing the country. Peter Lanchene Tobu, who is Member of Parliament for Wa West, was once Executive Secretary to former Inspector General of Police David Asante Apietu. Now, he says politicians are using the police as dumping grounds for unqualified persons, brewing officer unqualified and unmotivated to work. He was reacting to the robbery incident involving a bullion van at Adedinkpo, a suburb of Jamestown in Accra, which left a police officer and another civilian dead.
If you need your country to progress to the best level, put your best brains in there and let them do that job honestly. I'm saying as a fact, we have taken security for granted. It become a dumping ground. People that can get jobs because of competence, they can become police officers. In fact, it is a trend that is unfortunately graduating to bizarre levels. From 1992, when we started this Fourth Republic, it's a trend that is graduating, but we are getting into bizarre levels. And we've got to stop it and speak out, let people understand that, listen, this is not the way to go. Because without security, we cannot have development. And when our security is so porous that the officers themselves are not of the quality that we need, when they go out there, their performance will disgrace us. And I've always told people, listen, if you are not supposed to wear the police uniform, and you go in there because of protocol, you are wearing it. One, either you die in the job, or you kill people recklessly. Because policing is a calling. The Jamestown incident was not an incident in isolation. These things have been happening since 2016. And all of us are in this country. When it happens, the reaction is the same. You see all kinds of big people rushing to the scene, visiting the families, and doing what is culturally acceptable. And after a week or two, the story dies down. So I've been looking at this situation, and I said, look, it is time for us to sit up as a country and move away from the level of hypocrisy. What is right, and what is wrong is wrong.
That's Peter Lanchene Tobu, Member of Parliament for Wa West, one-time Executive Secretary to former IGP David Asante Apietu. Now we can hear from security analyst Dr. Kwesi Ening, and he's of the view that the Small Arms Commission isn't living up to its mandate, hence the proliferation of guns in the system, which is worsening the crime rate.
Small arms are available. The legislation underpinning them very weak, and the space that needs to be created backed by the legal framework for the National Commission on Small Arms really to be the critical agency dealing with licensing for importation, registration, marking, tracing, standardizing the qualities around the magazines where they are stored is not being done. So we need to look at the small arms side.
Security analyst Professor Kwesi Ening. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, James Opombuenu, has come under criticism for what is perceived to be the poor state of security in the country, with some calling for his resignation. But he tells my colleague Manuel Kranting what is happening in Ghana is not strange, and there's a general rise in crime in the West African sub-region.
Whoever says that we are out of touch with the system or with the society is not studying the topography of the West African sub-region as of now. Anybody or any security analysis worth the salt will know that the West African sub-region is currently experiencing a high wave of crime in all the countries. If you compare all the countries, it doesn't mean that we should fold our arms and say that we're not doing anything. We are definitely doing what we can to protect Ghanaians. We'll go to whatever extent to ensure that whoever is behind this is brought to book.
Shouldn't the police service should have, been on top of the issues already? Because, we've heard the Vice President say that police officials on duty are going to wear body cams, they are going to wear a bulletproof vest. This is not the reality on the ground.
Body cams do not prevent, in themselves, do not prevent the shooting of police officers, but they help in the investigation. And depending on the circumstances, we issue them out to our officers. We are investigating, as I indicated, and that is part of the investigation as to why an officer on duty was not wearing a bulletproof vest. We are not just sitting down. We have had series of meetings with the banks and the companies that deal with cash. We call them cash in transit vehicle companies. Let's say from 30th of this month, any bank or any company that does not have a bulletproof, a bullion van, we are not going to provide any service for that company.
That's the Inspector General of Police, James Opombuenu, there speaking to my colleague Manuel Cranting. Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service has placed a 20,000 Ghana cedi bounty on gunmen who shot to death a police officer and an eyewitness during a robbery incident. Now, Director of Public Affairs with the Police Superintendent Sheila Abeye-Bachman says identity of those who provide information will be protected.
The police continue to encourage the public to be on the lookout for the perpetrators of the heinous crime that occurred at Jamestown, Accra. The Inspector General of Police has announced a reward of 20,000 Ghana cedis to any person who gives credible information to police for the arrest of the perpetrators. And in this regard, we assure informants of the utmost protection of their identities.
That's the Police Director of Public Affairs, Superintendent Sheila Abeye-Bachman. And now in Kumasi, 2 people have been arrested in connection with broad daylight robbery of a mobile money shop at Bantama in the Bookroom Estate Junction. Residents were shocked when gun-wielding robbers on motorbikes brazenly struck other 2 shops in the full public glare during rush hours. The Ashanti Regional Police Command says 2 suspects have been arrested after they were captured in CCTV footages. Ohim Interior of the security desk follows that up for us. As we get him, we get more details on that. I'll take you to Parliament now, and the Defence Minister, Dominic Netiwo, has justified government's decision to hire an aircraft for the President's latest foreign trip, insisting using the presidential jet would not have been a good idea. You recall, North Tongue MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa made the claim earlier this month and indicated the Defence Minister and Finance Minister Ken Nuferiata will be hauled before the House to answer questions on this particular issue. Well, he appeared today, and Mr. Nitiwo said though the Falcon is airworthy, it is not okay for long trips.
In practical experience, since it was acquired and delivered in 2010, whenever the aircraft is traveling to the eastern part of the United States or Asia, the aircraft will not load through more than 8 plus the luggage. So it depends on where it is going and the payload with it. Secondly, in my answer, I have said that the aircraft has to do refueling stops. When this aircraft is going to the United States, it will do a refueling stop in either Senegal or another island. I've said that before. And I said, in this COVID era, when you are going to travel to multiple destinations, for example, in the president's travel, he went to France, took a train from France to Belgium and back, not with an aircraft. Use cars within his movement, not with an aircraft.
That's the Defence Minister, Dominic Netiwo. Let's get more from that submission. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our parliamentary correspondent. He joins us on the line. So, Joseph, the Defence Minister has also been talking about the leasing of the jet for other use by the President. What exactly are the details?
He makes the point that the suggestions that have come up that the President could probably have flown first class on commercial jets and says that wouldn't be feasible because, for example, if he uses an Emirates flight and the flight makes a stop in the Dubai area, courtesies have to be extended to the president because he's leader of the country, which creates inconvenience that's very much unnecessary. And even looking at the cost factor, it wouldn't be a good idea to then say that they should have flown commercial.
Well, on your last submission, issues about cost. So I'm finding out if he went into details about the issues of the cost of this hiring of this jet.
He didn't. The indication is that that's a separate question that the Minister for Finance, Ken Oforiatta, will be responding to tomorrow when he appears before members of parliament, because then there is an issue having to do with the total cost of the trips to Belgium, South Africa, and France, which the finance minister will respond to tomorrow.
And what's been the reaction of the minority, especially Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, who filed the question?
He's been questioning and debating and additionally insisting that some of the details that the minister put out are not entirely accurate. For example, the minister said that about 11 people can get into the current presidential jet. He says his figures indicate that between 10 and 15 can get in. And he's also been challenging the details on some of the issues having to do with how much distance this presidential jet can fly, which he insists the provisions of the approval that were given for this jet, it can go beyond Europe and different areas, regardless of the distance.
And I'm sure other issues have come up as a result of this question that has been filed by Mr. Okujeto Ablakwa to the Defense Minister.
The MP say they're looking forward to the finance minister giving the specific details as to whether it did cost the nation up to 15,000 euros per hour to then rent the third flight to Belgium and other areas. So everyone is looking forward to that tomorrow. But also the energy minister has been responding to questions on what is being done to ensure adequate electricity provision to rural areas in the country on the floor.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, I wish you the best of the day. That's our parliamentary correspondent. I'll take you back to the Ashanti region and join the member of our security desk, Ohiming Teria, who is following this particular robbery incident on a mobile money shop at Bantama in Bokrom. We're told that 2 persons have been arrested. Ohiming, what are the details?
Yes, MFR, on April 22 this year and then June 1st, 2021, these 2 robbery incidents did occur at Bantama during the rush hours. It did occur in the full glare of the public, and unfortunately, these activities were captured on CCTV cameras. So police have taken advantage of the video footage at their disposal and identified 2 of the robbers in this CCTV footage. The police say it's a syndicate that has been operating in the Ashanti region and Greater Accra. And with the support of the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, 2 of the suspects have been arrested as they look out for more of the suspects. ASP Ahianyo explained that it's a good news to the police as far as security in the Ashanti region is concerned.
That's Ohiming Teria there. Away from security now, government says it is hesitating in executing its commitments in the agreement with middlemen for supply of COVID-19 vaccines due to failure of these businessmen to also meet supply timelines. Investigations by a Norwegian newspaper revealed government had entered into contracts with these middlemen for the Russian COVID-19 Sputnik V vaccines at prices nearly twice the market price of $10. There have been calls for government to pull out of the deal despite its explanation that it was forced to enter these agreements due to its inability to obtain the $10 per dose vaccines from the Russian government. Health Minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu has today been speaking on it. He's been giving an update on the situation.
That is what we were doing. The LC that we did, we are still waiting. The schedules that we have in the agreement becomes effective. The agreement becomes effective after ordering and issuing letters of credit. Having been able to supply us even with the first 300,000, we have to hesitate a little bit to make sure that they are going to perform before we do the next LC. The Russian agreements are about similar. So the second one we even did, we're only hesitating to see if the first one can actually bring before we go ahead to try to do the LC for the second one. Whatever it is, we may have to procure. And so far as we are getting bilateral engagements to do, we wouldn't have options than to continue to engage middlemen to some limited extent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's the Health Minister, Kweku Agyemang-Manu. My colleague Joseph Akable, who asked that question, joins me in studio. Joseph, so the question about whether the contract will be abrogated, was it answered?
This was his response to the question, and so he says they are still hesitating in terms of fulfilling the agreement, and he makes the point that we still need the vaccines, and if it had been at the height of the pandemic sometime in April when there was a surge in cases, we would not have been having this conversation.
Okay, so at the heart of this whole issue is the need to fully vaccinate citizens and attain herd immunity. We know there are people who are yet to receive their second jab. What has the minister been saying?
He says there is some good news.
Those of us who have not had our second dose yet, there is a lot of hope. We have indications that is giving us hope for the very near future. We're expecting vaccines from the US. We've got a promise from the UK to try to help us get our second dose go through very quickly. The numbers are just about what will give us the gap that we have with the second dose. The exact date that is coming, we don't know, but we anticipate this late June, early July, these things will happen. Science is now telling us, I've told you several times, that this disease continues to manifest itself against all scientific thinking. Today it is this, tomorrow it is that. That is how this virus is treating scientists on the globe. Now they are telling us that even if you don't get it within the 8 to 12 weeks, you get even better protected if the time span between your first and second jab is a little bit expanded.
That's the Health Minister, Kweku Ajiman-Menu. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Top stories: Upper East Regional Security Council puts border security on high alert following a police wireless message indicating possible attacks by Burkinabe bandits. If you are in that area, if you see something, say something. Later, also in the bulletin, Joy News campaign, Clean Ghana campaign back after it was suspended at the height of the coronavirus pandemic. AMA officials excited first phase of the campaign resulted in significant improvement in adherence to sanitation standards.
For this second wave of Clean Ghana campaign, anybody who goes contrary to some of these environmental bylaws, the person should have himself accountable to the law.
And later in the bulletin, we'll tell you about what influences musician Patapa's decision whether to feature another musician or not.
Because of what I've seen in my eye some years ago. So when you call me, if I feel like doing the song, I'll do it.
Do you know that when you dial star 700 hash on Vodafone, you are accessing a world of endless opportunities, from getting a job in another country while right here in Ghana to playing esports in real time, from attending world-class institutions from your bedroom to seeing specialist doctors without leaving home, and so much more. So get the best value data offers in Ghana on Vodafone. Get 1.23 gigabyte data, no expiry data for only 5 Ghana cedis, 3.4 gigabyte data for only 10 cedis, and 9 gigabyte data for only 20 Ghana cedis. Dial star 700 hash now.
Vodafone. Together we can.
Thanks for sticking with the best as the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. George Addo Jr. has the very latest from the world of sports. George?
Hi, MFI. I'll tell you about what's to come in the Euros today as the second round of group stage games begin. But let's talk boxing, because the former Ghana boxing boss, Sami Kaptan, says the sport has taken a nosedive in the country because of the attitude of boxers and promoters. Ghana has no world champion at the moment and very little activity on the local scene despite government's lifting of COVID-19 restrictions. Kaptan says the key industry stakeholders are to be blamed.
One boxing in this country to be on the limelight before, like DK Poison time, Ikoti time, Azuma time, But with such things that is happening, you tell a boxer to fight somebody who's got good record, say, no, I won't fight him. I'm not afraid of him though, but I won't fight him. And the managers too, the boxers control the managers. They are not disciplined. The boxers are not disciplined. The managers can't control the boxers. To become a manager, you have to discipline yourself and discipline your boxer. You control the boxer. You spend your resources. You also have a family, to take care of. And you have taken care of somebody, child. And if the person is not listening to you, how can you get into the top?
That's the former Ghana boxing boss, Sami Kaptan. And MFR, right, we've got commentary for you in the game involving Italy and Switzerland. That will be at 7 p.m. with build-up at 6:30 p.m. this evening. But there's Turkey, Wales, Finland, Russia, and there are no games on television on Joy Prime and Adum TV for today. But we come your way tomorrow with more.
Thank you very much, George, with that update. And it's been a year since it was suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm talking about the Clean Ghana campaign, and it's taking off. That campaign, a brainchild of Joy News, executed in partnership with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, is to educate the public and enforce sanitation bylaws within the city. Director of Public Health at the AMA, Florence Kuchi, says the first phase of the campaign resulted in significant improvement in adherence to sanitation standards, especially in the markets. Listen to her as she relaunched the campaign this morning.
Today, the 16th of June, is the second phase of Clean Ghana campaign relaunch. Clean Ghana campaign, which started in September 2019, was an initiative that sought to help enforce sanitation laws and educate the general public on how to manage waste and keeping their surroundings clean and free from every disease-causing pathogen. The idea was to educate citizens and make them take responsibility for their actions so as to attain clean and healthy environment. Clean Ghana campaign is a collaborated initiative between Accra Metropolitan Assembly and multimedia.
My colleague Manuel Cranting is with the team on his first assignment for today. Manuel, where are you now and which areas have been the target today?
Well, MFR, today we've been at the timber market within the Amamomo electoral area of the Ododo-Diodio constituency. Essentially, the team has been issuing directives to mostly food vendors and caterers within the vicinity, which is predominantly, wooden structured. And they have been telling them to adhere to the safety protocols, because we've seen that most of them are not wearing their face masks and so on and so forth. Again, a lot of them do not have medical, evaluation certificates, which will clear them to be able to cook and serve the public. About 4 abatement notices have been issued already, with most of them awaiting their meeting with the assembly. And so it's taken off quite smoothly with a lot of seriousness within the Amamomo electoral area.
That's my colleague Manuel Cranting. And speaking of food, researchers at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have found contamination of millet and milk smoothie, popularly called Burkina, with E. coli. The Biochemistry and Biotechnology Department has found unacceptable levels of the bacteria in almost all the samples examined. This type of bacteria is an indicator of possible contamination with fecal matter. Love FM's Kwesi Debra has more in this report.
And then we can buy these Don Simon and other stuff. When you get Burkina, let's say 3 bottles, and then you are done with it, it really refreshes you up.
The beverage, which is said to have originated from Burkina Faso, is fast becoming popular in Ghana. Dr. Marina Tando therefore decided to investigate the nutritional and microbiological quality of Burkina. Together with one of her students, Baba Kwenya Adams, they collected 6 300-milliliter Burkina from local producers and retailers in different locations in the Kumasi metropolis. Escherichia coli, or E. coli, is a major member in the coliforms family and is found in the feces. Some strains of E. coli can cause severe stomach cramps, vomiting and bloody diarrhea, and urinary tract infections.
E. coli is mainly transmitted through the fecal route, and so anything that contains fecal matter can potentially contaminate the product.
The permissible coliform limit is 10 coliform units per 0.1 milliliter of any food substance.
We found out that 4 of Burkina samples collected from the various locations had high levels of E. coli, whereas 2 had high levels of other coliforms, but not E. coli.
The maximum total coliform count recorded by the team in the Burkina was over 900 times, and the minimum count being 100 times.
All of them couldn't pass the coliform levels.
Dr. Tando's team have also visited some production sites.
E. coli is a pathogen that is easily transmitted through fecal matter. And so anything that contains fecal matter is a potential source of contamination with E. coli. And so for this Burkina, for us to find E. coli in there could mean that there were several sources of contamination.
You ought to watch where you get your Burkina from. It's time for showbiz, and since gaining national attention with his debut hit song One Corner, musician Patapaa has gone to produce hit songs with other artists, like the global hit song Aquaba when he teamed up with Guilty Beats, Mr. Easy, and Papi Kojo. Patapaa was asked on Daybreak Hits what influences his choice of an artist to collaborate with him. Here's what he had to say.
You know, we have some underground artists, because of what I have seen in my eye some years ago. So when you call me, if I feel like doing the song, I will do it. If I don't feel like doing it, it's not by force. Yeah, but if it's senior artist, no, I have to do it. We have to support each other. Because when the song blow, it's not only me blow, you the artist also blow.
Give me one chance, make I be a fighter, provider.
And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Emefa Apau. There are more stories on myjoyonline.com that you can read for yourself. Police places 20k bounty on Jamestown billion van robbers. We are not in heaven. IGP reacts to calls for his resignation. Akufo-Addo admits government is facing challenges in COVID-19 vaccine procurement. Also, family of student journalists found dead in a hotel room demands justice. That and more on myjoyonline.com. Wisdom, episode 18 with Pastor Mensel Tabil is up next on Living Word. Have a good afternoon.